Joining me in this telecast in the morning, Lenka White, journalist from New York. Lenka, good morning, Indian Standard Time. As Lenka continues to be, and Bethany also continues to be with us, Lenka, let me come to you. Do you think America is ready for a woman president who's an immigrant face and from a family and is not a white?
That was a huge news today. You know, Biden just dropped
Yes.
it on social media X platform. Nobody has really expected it. I think we are still in shock. People were sort of thinking it has to happen, but nobody thought it will come out of nowhere without him even talking to the nation. And to your question, I think the United States is definitely ready for women, and people would love to see actually a strong woman to lead the nation. The problem is not that she is a woman or that she is from a minority, Afro-American or Asian. The problem is that she is not really electable person. She doesn't score well on the polls against Trump. I was just seeing a poll about 5 minutes ago when Trump was scoring 51% and Kamala Harris was having 46%. Of course, we have to expect a bunch of polls coming in from now on, but it doesn't look great for them, even though she is a woman and she's from a minority of people here in the United States.
This is going to be very interesting here on. Remember, while many were speculating this will happen, Joe Biden definitely gave out feelers he isn't going anywhere. Lenka, stay on with me. So did Bethany continues to be with us. Now, U.S. President Joe Biden drops out of the presidential race. This is huge. Now, whether he's taken the decision by himself, whether he has been forced to, that, of course, is a different issue. After weeks of debate over Biden's health, but importantly, all of this surfaced, remember, after the disastrous presidential debate performance, where it appeared that Joe Biden either was incoherent or just wasn't strong enough to be able to counter Donald Trump. Joe Biden has quit the race for the White House. What does that mean? That Joe Biden, when he shared this emotional message, it was a statement. He announced that he's going to withdraw from the race, but fully endorsed and supported his Vice President Kamala Harris as a Democrat presidential nominee. Republican nominee, meanwhile, who's also former U.S. President Donald Trump, immediately went all guns blazing against Biden, even calling him crooked. He posted on social media that Biden was not fit to run, he's not fit to serve, never was. He's added that America suffered greatly under Biden's tenure and promised to remedy the damage that he had done.
I want to begin by commending President Biden for a career in public service, for a long, long career in representing and serving our country, and for his handling of the many difficulties and challenges, personal challenges and tragedies that he suffered during his life. When I entered this race, I predicted that President Biden suffered from a degenerative condition that was not going to improve and that it would make it impossible for him to govern effectively. President Trump has a connection to the American people, a populist connection, but in many ways it's the same fraudulent connection that we saw with the DNC over the past year, concealing the real purpose of their objectives, which was to give us a president that represents corporate interests rather than the interests of the American public.
Hey everybody, I just got here to Rome, where I'm going to be joining a dialogue and forum on peace, security, and prosperity for the Western Hemisphere in Europe. I just saw the news flash like everybody else. President Biden's no longer running for re-election, and he's endorsed Kamala Harris to be the Democratic nominee for president and commander-in-chief. I'm going to sound the same warning now that I have been for years, going all the way back to 2020 when both Kamala and I were running for president on the Democratic ticket. She is unfit and unqualified to be our president and commander-in-chief and would be incredibly dangerous in that position. The prospect of Kamala Harris making decisions about war and peace and where to send my brothers and sisters in uniform into harm's way is not only terrifying to us, it should be terrifying to every American, knowing that we would all pay the price for her dangerous actions and dangerous decisions. Everything you've heard me say about Hillary Clinton, the queen of warmongers, can also be said of Kamala Harris. There should be no question in your mind that if Kamala is allowed to be our president and commander-in-chief, she'll be the maidservant of this queen of warmongers, the head of this elitist cabal of warmongers that has gotten us into this place. They're the ones who've been calling the shots behind Joe Biden's presidency. They would continue to call the shots if Kamala Harris is president. And where have they led us? To the brink of war with multiple countries in all parts of the world, and closer to the brink of nuclear war and Armageddon now than ever before. The choice for us is very clear. If we cherish peace and freedom, and if we love our country, we must vote against Kamala Harris in this election on November 5th and vote for Donald Trump.
So here I have my guests, Bethany, Mandel and Lenka, both journalists from New York and Washington, D.C. Bethany, I'll take that to you. Do you think that America is possibly ready for Kamala Harris in different ways? One, of course, the most obvious is, so to say, a non-white face, a woman, an immigrant family. Another is with regard to how she's been as a vice president. Do you think she is on her way to becoming president, or did it just get easier for Donald Trump?
I think that it's too early to tell if it got easier or if it got harder. The polling indicates right now that Kamala does have a better chance versus Joe Biden. As far as being ready, I mean, she's, she wouldn't be the first person of color. She would be the first woman. I think that a lot of people do want a first woman president, but I think the majority of Americans don't want her to be that. So I think that, that glass ceiling probably will still yet to be broken.
And also, I just want to add here that if I'm correct, that Biden has endorsed her. It's not that she's automatically become the nominee from the Democrats. So that we'll await and see. But Lenka, do you think it's been interesting because the world is watching right now? We have nothing to do with American politics, and yet it's been the big story because, the fact is whoever becomes the American president can decide global alliances, and specifically with India, it's a growing strategic relationship. A lot is on the table. So do you think this is what the world is, I don't think it's happened anywhere really where this situation has risen.
Definitely. It has not happened before, even here in the United States. Yes. It's even first time for them. I would like to remind that last time it was 1968. I was reading that a presidential candidate, LBJ, he dropped out of the race. And it's good to mention that he dropped out in March. Now we have July. And back then, the Democrats still didn't win after that. So it's been really first time for all of them. And definitely the whole world is watching. And I wonder how it feels for the other leaders to actually see such a huge chaos in the United States, who often actually preaches and tells others how to behave and how to deal with rule of law. So it's definitely very interesting what is going on.
Please stay on with me because I have some big breaking news coming in. U.S. Defense Secretary has hailed Joe Biden. So there are non-stop reactions coming in. And remember, this is just from within USA. There are world leaders also who have given out statements. U.S. Defense Secretary, meanwhile, has called him guardian of U.S. national security. Biden was committed to American military, is what the Defense Secretary has said, and added, Biden has secured history as the great president. So, of course, those in the government, those who worked with Joe Biden are praising him. And that, remember, of course, there will be these constant updates that are coming in. The fact that Justin Trudeau has responded, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has responded as well. So, there, remember, like I said, that it's not just about the USA. For our president to back out from his race, for whatever reason right now, has the world reacting? Bethany, so of course, our Defense Secretary is appreciating, and it's understandable, those who have worked with him. It's not about being a president. Joe Biden has been in public and political life for decades now. What do you think precisely went against him? Because he clearly, all feelers were, he's not going to go. He did not want to go. What do you think prompted him? Was it the age factor? Was it the presidential debate? Someone within Democrats said that if you're going to continue, we are going to lose.
I think every leading Democrat privately and publicly said that if you continue in this race, we're going to lose, and not only lose the White House, but also lose the House and the Senate, and therefore all power in American politics. But this has been the situation with Joe Biden for a long time. He has not been playing with a full deck for I think years. But when he was on stage during that debate, the American people saw it, and then it became a situation that the Democratic Party and the mainstream media could no longer deny that, this is not a safe situation. What's frustrating as an American is it's not been safe for a long time to have him in charge. And if he's not capable of running for president, he's not capable of being president right now. And yet he will remain president until January.
Lenka, when the Defense Secretary says that he's been a great president, he's the guardian of national security, is there also a certain political mention here that he's the only one who can protect national security, that Trump wouldn't be able to do so? So do you think there are also these projections coming in from those who can, or within the establishment, that only Joe Biden or the Democrats can be the savior for USA? Lenka, that's for you. Yes, if you can hear me. Lenka White, that question is for you in case you can hear. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Was for me the
Yes.
question? Okay, I didn't hear.
So I found it very interesting that the Defense Secretary
you know,
said that Biden is the guardian of national security. He's the one who's worked so hard. Is there also a mention to say that only Democrats can protect America?
I don't know about that he's a guardian of security. There are reports he works from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. How can you be a guardian of security if you can't pick up a call at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. if a war breaks out or if there is something important to deal with? He mixes Mexico with Egypt and vice versa. I don't know if this guy can actually be a guardian of any security, even his own security. In terms of other Democrats, we still have to see what Kamala Harris will be doing. But we should also remember that she's the border czar. She's the border czar, yet there are 10 million of people right now illegally here in the United States. That's despite that she's supposed to have control over the security of the border. And that's actually going to be one of the big topics if she is picked for the Republican Party to attack her on, because she's clearly not doing her job as a czar.
Very interesting. Thank you very much, Lenka White and Bethany Mandel. And here's hoping that now best man or best woman may win for the USA, because it's going to be historic in so many ways, whether Trump wins or whether this time it's going to be Kamala Harris as well.